General Hospital spoilers tease that amidst the swirling chaos sweeping through Port Charles, the bond between Nina and Sonny appears not merely rekindled, but deepened. Fortified by a new and profound intensity. After all the hurt, mistakes, and seemingly irreparable fractures, Sonny and Nina have found in each other something unbroken, a slowly reborn trust. A shared hope for a fresh start free from the ghosts of the past. Every conversation between them, whether accidental or deliberate, carries a unique weight, a silent understanding in every glance. Every hesitant smile. No longer buoyed by lofty, unrealistic promises, Nina and Sonny are now building a connection from the very shards of their past. What they've endured, betrayal, pain, despair, is no longer a barrier but a binding force, stronger than ever before. Their interactions, day by day, are becoming more intense and inseparable. As if fate is once again weaving their threads into the same story. But it doesn't stop there. In a twist no one could have foreseen. The first signs of reconciliation between Nina and Carly are beginning to flicker. Once mortal enemies who dragged each other into unforgivable tragedies. They might now find common ground in their exhaustion from endless conflict. If Nina and Carly can truly let go of old grudges, if they can find forgiveness and healing, the entire structure of relationships in Port Charles could be rocked by an unprecedented earthquake. A whole new dynamic is taking shape, a story where emotion, compassion, and redemption are no longer luxuries but foundations. Should Nina and Carly start beating in unison, Sonny would not only gain renewed strength for his reunion with Nina but also be freed from the burden of guilt and division that has long haunted him. Imagine a Port Charles where Sonny is no longer torn between the two most important women in his life, where Nina is no longer haunted by Carly, and where Carly can see Nina not as a rival, but as a flawed and wounded human being. If that happens, Sonny and Nina's relationship will no longer be a fragile experiment, but a resilient flame capable of withstanding any storm. Once more, Sonny could love Nina without turning his back on those he holds dear. And for the first time in a very long time, Nina could love without fear of punishment or rejection. That transformation, from brokenness and hatred to healing and rebirth, will open the door to a new chapter of stories where loyalty, love, and honor must be entirely redefined in Port Charles. This is not just a tale of two people finding their way back to each other, it's the tale of a whole community, where even the smallest decisions can shake already fragile foundations. Still, the journey will not be easy. The ghosts of the past are always lurking. Others, from Ava to Willow, from Michael to Jason, may not so easily accept a new Nina, a new Carly, and a Sonny who has made a clear choice. Those questions will continue to hang in the air, awaiting answers in episodes to come. But one thing is certain. The story between Sonny and Nina is no longer just a love story. It's the journey of wounded souls trying to heal themselves, each other, and those around them. And as any longtime viewer of General Hospital knows, stories like that hold the power to change everything, forever. As Sonny and Nina's relationship enters an entirely new chapter. It's not only romantic emotions being stirred, but shared goals beginning to emerge, goals not merely about protecting their bond, but confronting those who pose threats or stand in the way of their future. Among those, Ava, Rick, and Drew are becoming increasingly circled names on a list that needs to be dealt with. Sonny, with survival instincts honed through decades of a dangerous life, knows that to peacefully rebuild a life with Nina, he cannot let potential disruptors linger in the shadows. Nina, once a woman who endured endless hurt and loss, is no longer a passive figure standing behind others. She has changed. She craves control over her destiny, and over the lives of those she loves. That's why the Sonny Nina union now is not just a romance, but a powerful and dangerous alliance. Ava, once Nina's confidant, has now become a threat that can't be ignored. Her impatience, secrets, and murky connections have put Sonny on high alert. Rick, with his cunning and quiet ambition, has also caught Nina's watchful eye. And Drew, once a symbol of integrity, has found himself at odds with Nina due to recent decisions that have hurt those she cares about. But what truly makes this storyline explosive isn't the target Sonny and Nina choose, it's the bold, nearly reckless decisions Nina is beginning to push. Gone are the days of quiet caution. Nina now stands at the helm of bold, uncompromising plans. She is no longer satisfied with quietly defending what's hers. Instead, she wants to strike, strong, direct, and if needed, ruthless. The major moves Nina is orchestrating have the potential to reshape everything. She doesn't just want to push Ava out of both Sonny's and her life. She wants to dismantle Rick's power plays and expose Drew's true face to all of Port Charles. Every step Nina takes is calculated, yet brimming with risk. A single misstep could reduce everything she and Sonny have built to ashes. Sonny, though long familiar with schemes and the underworld, is beginning to realize that Nina is changing in ways he never expected. She's no longer the sweet lover he once knew in Nixon Falls. Nina now resembles a rising dark queen, ready to sever threats before they take root. Together, Sonny and Nina have become a new power couple, a fusion of love and strategy, but they're also stepping into a perilous game where enemies could emerge from any shadow. Nina's intensity, paired with Sonny's ruthless skills, is pushing Port Charles into unprecedented tension. All eyes are now on them, staring with awe, fear, and disbelief. The question is no longer simply whether Sonny and Nina will get what they want, but what they'll have to sacrifice to achieve it. And as their bold actions begin to set off ripple effects, no one can predict who the next victim will be, who will fight back, or whether Sonny and Nina will be able to hold on to their love in a world teetering on the edge, pushed there by their ambition and unforgiving choices. A storm is brewing beneath the surface of Port Charles, and its name is Nina and Sonny. Carly and Natalia never imagined they'd one day stand at the threshold of such cold betrayal. Yet the news spread like wildfire in the darkness. They were being cut out of Sonny and Nina's lives. What they once believed to be solid bonds, unspoken understandings, emotions that had never run dry, had now shattered into fragments of illusion. Both Carly and Natalia were stunned, not just by how sudden it was, but by the undeniable truth it revealed. Sonny had changed. And not just superficially, he had transformed at the core. Since his heart surgery, something inside Sonny had been awakened. A part of his soul, once weighed down by guilt, old family obligations, and lingering ties, had been swept away, leaving behind a new man, cold, pragmatic, and ruthless when necessary. The Sonny of today is no longer the man torn between past affections, no longer the man willing to leave the door open for those who once hurt him. Now, he acts with purpose, with unflinching severity, and Carly and Natalia, once etched deeply in his heart, are now reduced to expendable pieces in a new game. For Carly, this truth wasn't just a shock, it was a brutal blow to the pride and identity she had built over the years. She had always believed there was an unbreakable bond between her and Sonny, something that transcended tired promises, exhausting forgiveness, and tearful reunions. But now, Sonny was severing that tie as if it had never truly existed. Carly, the proud and ambitious woman, now had to confront the reality that she'd been cast aside, mercilessly and without warning. For Natalia, who had once convinced herself she held a special place in Sonny's heart, it was like a painful fall from the heights of illusion into the depths of reality. She had believed she was different, that her connection with Sonny held unique meaning, but now, all that remained was a sense of betrayal and humiliation. The collapse of that belief didn't just hurt her, it awakened long-suppressed fears and fury. While Carly and Natalia reeled, Port Charles began to feel the quiet tremors from Sonny's transformation. Those who thought they knew him realized they had been wrong. No longer the mob boss softened by family ties, Sonny had become a cold strategist, willing to eliminate anything that threatened the fragile peace and power he was rebuilding with Nina. Nina, as Sonny's new partner, not only accepted this shift, she fueled it. She understood that to survive, to love without fear of hurt, she and Sonny had to be willing to remove whatever was weak or dangerous. Her view of Carly and Natalia was no longer tinged with pity or hesitation, only calculated pragmatism. Their presence was a threat that needed to be neutralized before it could grow into something more dangerous. Caught in this whirlwind of change, Carly and Natalia had few options left. Rise and fight against a Sonny they no longer recognized, or be swept away by the storm-gathering strength. And once again, Port Charles stood on the brink of major upheaval, where love, hatred, power, and survival twisted into a labyrinth with no escape. Sonny had changed. And no one, not Carly, not Natalia, could stop the tidal wave rising from the heart that had been stitched back together. A wave that would wash away all that was old and soft, leaving only the strong behind. In this new world Sonny and Nina were relentlessly creating, day by day. Moment by moment, only those who adapt will survive. In the chaos gripping Port Charles, Nina has quickly asserted herself as Sonny's irreplaceable partner. No longer merely a supportive lover. She has become an active force reshaping the balance of power. With sharp intellect and unwavering loyalty, Nina is helping Sonny stabilize the situation through bold actions. Willingly stepping into a world of shadows he once ruled alone. This new chapter of Nina's story is no longer about passionate love, it's about a woman obsessed with protecting Sonny at all costs. An obsession that's driving her to go further, take bigger risks, and act more recklessly than ever before. That obsession has birthed bold new strategies, plans of attack that Nina has crafted herself, with no fear of consequences. Every move she makes is cold and calculated, powered by a terrifying resolve. In her eyes now, any sign of mercy is weakness that cannot be tolerated. One of Nina's biggest shifts is her move from defense to offense. Instead of waiting for enemies to strike, she's taking the first blow, strong and decisive. She has begun targeting those who once destabilized Sonny, Ava, Rick, Drew, and even Carly's old allies. With quiet support from Sonny's loyalists, Nina has launched sophisticated offensives, leaking sensitive information, sabotaging secret alliances, and forcing adversaries into defensive or even self-destructive positions. But power comes with peril. Nina's aggressive actions are sparking a dangerous chain reaction. Her revenge has not only unbalanced her enemies, it's igniting widespread rage and retaliation across Port Charles. The entire city is tense. Every handshake, every promise, every glance carries the potential for betrayal. Former underground powers who once feared Sonny are now quietly uniting, not only to defeat him, but to target Nina, the newcomer who dared challenge the old order. A new disaster is quietly forming at the heart of Port Charles. And the scariest threat isn't external, it's the growing loss of control within. Though Nina supports him wholeheartedly, Sonny is beginning to sense danger from all directions. He realizes that every strike Nina launches in his name pulls them closer to a point of no return, a place where blood will be spilled, loyalties tested, and love eroded by the cost of maintaining power. Blinded by love and her drive to protect Sonny, Nina seems unaware that she may be leading them into a deadly spiral. Each enemy they defeat only makes the survivors more dangerous and desperate. Port Charles is becoming an undeclared battlefield, where only the strongest and most ruthless will endure. And hesitation means destruction. Sonny, with all his survival instincts honed over years, is now forced to ask himself, is Nina's love becoming a weapon that could destroy them both? And can he stop her before they're both dragged into a catastrophe neither can control? The answer may not come through vows or tears, but through blood, hard choices, and a ruthless reckoning unlike anything Port Charles has ever witnessed. Sonny is no longer the man Port Charles once knew. What seemed like a simple heart surgery meant to change his body has, in truth, twisted his soul and personality in ways no one could have predicted. Sonny has transformed into an entirely different person, colder, more unpredictable, and far more dangerous. Gone are the days of leniency and emotional vulnerability for old relationships. In their place stands a new Sonny, a calculating player in a brutal game of power, making ruthless moves with no room for mercy. This transformation has plunged both Nina and Carly into a darkness neither had ever known. Each woman, in her own way, is being dragged into the vortex of power and vengeance Sonny has set in motion. Nina, driven by love and unwavering loyalty, is willing to dive into shadow wars, using any means necessary to protect her man. Carly, cast out from Sonny's protective circle but still emotionally tethered to him, finds herself caught in a psychological storm, torn between fury and a lingering obsession with the dangerous new allure Sonny now exudes. One of the most insane developments now emerging is born directly from that transformation. The decisions Sonny and Nina are making no longer follow moral guidelines or the old unspoken rules that once maintained Port Charles's fragile order. Instead, they act on instinct, fueled by power and fierce loyalty to each other, disregarding consequences. This has ignited a new wave of control. A covert war in which Sonny and Nina seek to crush anyone who dares to stand against them, from ancient underground powers to seemingly harmless individuals. Port Charles, once proud of its delicate balance between good and evil, now faces a storm darker than anything it has ever known. Every choice Sonny and Nina make, no matter how small, sends shockwaves through the community. Long-standing relationships are collapsing, secret alliances are being pushed to the brink. And opposition forces, once content to remain hidden, are now rising in desperation and rage. But the greatest danger isn't just what Sonny and Nina are doing, it's how they're doing it. Without warning, without mercy, leaving no opportunity for recovery. Their actions cut like a sharp blade, silent, swift, and ruthless. Every strike they deliver targets more than just the bodies of their enemies. It severs trust and tears through the unwritten rules that have preserved peace in Port Charles for years. In this darkness, Carly, once Sonny's closest ally, the one who understood him better than anyone, has become a lost piece on a board she no longer recognizes. She faces not just the pain of being cast aside, but the terrifying realization that she too, intentionally or not, is being swept into the deadly power storms Sonny and Nina are unleashing. And Carly, with her fierce survival instincts, won't go down without a fight. But can she withstand a new Sonny, one devoid of love and forgiveness? Port Charles is slowly sinking into darkness. Each new decision Sonny and Nina make is like another knife plunged into the fragile structure of the community. Families are breaking, friendships fracturing, secrets unraveling, all direct consequences of the ruthless shift Sonny and Nina are spearheading. No one is safe. Nowhere is truly a refuge. Only those who adapt to cruelty will survive this new dark era descending upon Port Charles, an era Sonny Corinthos and Nina Reeves are building from blood, from tears, and from the wreckage of lost souls. Amid this chaos and collapse driven by Sonny and Nina's dark decisions, an unexpected figure returns, Michael. And his return is not just a family reunion. It's the spark that threatens to ignite the brewing storm into a full-blown inferno. Michael, grounded in firm moral principles and steadfast loyalty to the family values he was raised with, quickly realizes that the city he once called home has become unrecognizable, and at the heart of this transformation is the very man he once loved and admired as a father, Sonny Corinthos. It doesn't take long for Michael to understand that this is no ordinary power play. This is a shadow war, where the values that once kept Port Charles stable are being crushed under the weight of ambition and vengeance. And worst of all, Sonny, the man he trusted more than anyone, is the one leading this dark crusade, hand in hand with Nina, whom Michael never fully accepted. To Michael, the chaos Sonny and Nina are creating is unforgivable. He cannot tolerate a Port Charles drowning in silent violence, revenge plots, and cold-blooded decisions that destroy even family and friends for the sake of personal power. Michael sees the naked truth. Sonny is no longer the man he was once proud to call father. That Sonny has been replaced by a stranger, emotionless, unyielding, and cruel. Michael's inner outrage grows by the day, by the hour, as he witnesses the devastating consequences of Sonny's new path. But it doesn't stay in emotion for long. It turns into tension, a looming confrontation that both father and son can feel, even though no war has yet been declared. Every time their eyes meet, sparks fly, ready to ignite. Michael, deeply scarred from past wounds, knows that if he doesn't act, everything he once loved about Port Charles will crumble. Sonny, on the other hand, feels the widening chasm between them. But unlike before, when he might have tried to mend things with love and explanations, Sonny no longer has the patience. He sees Michael as naive and too soft to understand the brutal demands of the world they now live in. To Sonny, Michael is stuck in illusions of right and wrong, while reality demands swift, decisive, sometimes brutal choices. If Michael can't keep up, Sonny is willing to leave him behind. This irreconcilable rift is pushing Sonny and Michael into an undeclared war, growing more suffocating by the day. With his resolve and sense of justice, Michael might become the only one brave enough to stand against Sonny. And that means Port Charles won't just be a stage for power struggles anymore, it will become a real battlefield, where family turns on family, and blood is spilled not over distant feuds, but betrayal by those once held dearest. Sonny knows it. Michael knows it. Both are walking a path where only one heartbreaking truth awaits: either Sonny wins and loses Michael forever, or Michael must bring down the father who was once the strongest pillar of his life. And caught between those two extremes, Port Charles will bear the full weight of the fallout, because once familial bonds are broken, nothing can stop the storm of blood and tears that follows.